Profiles in Cinemania, Sharon Stone. It seems like blondes have had a bad rap for decades. Dolly Parton and Julie Brown both cut songs goofing on them. Marilyn Monroe starred in movies built around her hair color. People swap dumb blonde jokes anywhere people gather. If you were alive in the 20th century, it seems like society had adopted the notion, however false and misogynistic, that blonde women, like ginger tomcats, aren't the brightest crayons in the box. One figure arose from the pop culture morass of the 1990s, like an avenging Aphrodite rising from the sea foam around the severed gonads of Uranus, to remind us that we underestimate blondes at our peril. Sharon Stone is one of Hollywood's most famous blondes, and she is a bona fide genius. She boasts an IQ of 154, significantly higher than the Mensa threshold for geniushood. Her academic gifts were recognized in childhood, so much so that at the age of 15, she earned a creative writing scholarship and enrolled in Edinburgh University of Pennsylvania. Not long after beginning college, she entered and won the Crawford County Beauty Pageant, meaning she wasn't just brainy, she was beautiful too. Some people have all the luck. An academic life was not to be for young Sharon, however. It was at the age of 17 as a finalist in the Miss Pennsylvania pageant when one of the judges told her to drop out and move to New York to become a fashion model. She quit school, moved in with her aunt to within striking distance of the Big Apple, and was nearly immediately signed by the prestigious Ford modeling agency in New York City. After that, she ping-ponged between Milan, Paris, and New York City, modeling for television and print ads. When Sharon was 20, she landed her first screen role as an extra on a Woody Allen picture, Stardust Memories. A year later, she had progressed to a speaking part in the early Wes Craven horror film Deadly Blessing. And she was able to put her skills as a polyglot to use when she was cast in the French-language musical Le Un et l'Autre in 1982. These early uncredited roles gave her little screen time, but still provided her a boost in the film industry that earned her guest spots in some of the biggest TV shows of the 80s, including T.J. Hooker, Magnum P.I., and Remington Steele. These guest spots later turned into fully fledged supporting role in 1984's Irreconcilable Differences, where she managed to steal absolutely every scene she was in. Action films like King Solomon's Mines and its sequel Al in Quartermain and the Lost City of Gold were poorly received by critics and audiences, but critics noted Sharon Stone's performances as bright spots in otherwise mediocre projects. Somewhere along the line, Stone's film roles started to settle into a pattern. More often than not, she played a femme fatale, a woman whose alluring looks hide a heart that is cold, unknowable, and often quite dangerous. She played this archetype in 1987's Cold Steel and 1988's Above the Law. In 1989, Stone landed a big break. Paul Verhoeven cast her opposite 80s megastar Arnold Schwarzenegger in what would end up as one of the biggest blockbusters of the decade, Total Recall. Sharon played the femme fatale to the hilt and beyond. Her character, Lori, was a secret agent in a sham marriage, tasked with using her powers of seduction to keep Schwarzenegger's brainwashed character under control. When this inevitably fails, she switches from mysteriously sexy to dangerous and tries to murder the living shit out of her quote-unquote husband. Sexy though Sharon Stone's part may have been, it was also quite physically demanding, given the fight choreography required. She adopted a serious gym regimen to prepare for the part. This may sound passé nowadays, but keep in mind, this was 1989, way before Marvel movies began including such things as contract writers. Stone even studied Taekwondo for the fight scenes and stunts in the movie. Her efforts paid off. Total Recall contains a fight between Sharon Stone and Rachel Ticotin that has become a classic on YouTube. Not because it's sexy, but rather because it's precisely the opposite. It was a rare 20th century example of a legitimate, not at all sexy fight between women employing real martial arts techniques. It was so good that it resulted in Stone being inducted into the Stunt Woman Association as an honorary member. Stone did not let her six-pack abs go to waste after Total Recall wrapped. In 1990, coinciding with the theatrical release of the film, she posed nude for Playboy magazine, showing off the muscle she had gained while training for the fight scenes. This boldness of spirit helped Sharon Stone win her next and most iconic role as the sexually insatiable serial murderess Catherine Trammell in Verhoeven's next picture, Basic Instinct. Despite Verhoeven's promises on Total Recall that he would cast Stone in his next film, and despite the production's struggles casting a female lead, Apparently, most of the actresses approached were uncomfortable with the amount of nudity and sex required by the part. Stone has said she was given the cold shoulder because the film's star Michael Douglas considered her a quote-unquote nobody. She claimed to Vanity Fair that a friend had to break into the casting director's office to even get her the script. In the end, she aced the screen test with Douglas and got the part that would make her, for a time, the highest paid actress in Hollywood. Stardom is a fickle mistress, though. A mere 3 years later, at the peak of her career, Sharon Stone was nominated for a Golden Raspberry Award over her performance in the voyeuristic thriller Sliver. The following year, she won 2 Razzies, one each for Intersection and The Specialist. Ironically, The Specialist made $170.3 million worldwide, proving that poor reviews have never really truly hindered good box office returns. Not all of Sharon Stone's roles have been dangerous, sexy women, though. In 1998, when she played the mother of a teenage boy with Morquio syndrome in The Mighty, she was nominated for a Golden Globe. Sharon Stone has been bold in other ways as well. In 1995, the same year she appeared as headliner with Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci in Martin Scorsese's Casino, Stone took a chance and produced The Quick and the Dead. This film was a Western revenge movie that she also starred in. No mere figurehead, Stone took a strong hand in making production decisions, hiring director Sam Raimi, based on Army of Darkness, and casting the then little-known Russell Crowe as her co-star, 5 years before Gladiator catapulted him to stardom. She also paid Leonardo DiCaprio's salary out of pocket after Sony refused to cast him. The film earned Stone a Saturn Award nomination for Best Actress and also managed to make a modest profit, which is never a guarantee in showbiz. Like her characters, Sharon Stone has grit. At the age of 14, she recovered from a bad neck injury she sustained when she was bucked off a horse. In 2001, she nearly died of a stroke and subsequent subarachnoid hemorrhage that took more than 2 years of recuperation, and with whose effects she continues to struggle. Tragically, her husband abandoned her during her recuperation for a side piece and took custody of their son. Stone gritted her way through her brain injury and still fought it out in court. The stroke she suffered may have cost Sharon Stone her hard-won place at the height of Hollywood fame, but she sure as hell wasn't going to go down without a fight. With characteristic boldness, she revived the idea of a Basic Instinct sequel, which the studio had declared dead as much due to her age as her injury. Through litigation and sheer bloody-mindedness, Stone muscled Basic Instinct 2 into being, and after a years-long battle, the film was finally released in March of 2006. One reason for the long delay in releasing the film was reportedly Stone's dispute with the filmmakers over the nudity in the film. She wanted more, while they wanted less. The film may have been less than successful at the box office, but she proved, without a doubt, that older women can be sexy as hell. After Basic Instinct 2, Sharon Stone went on to gain new relevance in film and TV by shifting to more independent productions. The fortunate result of this is that her filmography now includes dalliances with indie darlings such as Jim Jarmusch, Broken Flowers, Nick Cassavetes, Alpha Dog, and even Emilio Estevez, Bobby. For her work on Bobby, she was nominated for the Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance by a Cast in a Motion Picture, and she won the Hollywood Film Festival Award for Best Ensemble Cast. During this period, Stone also returned to work with Woody Allen on Fading Gigolo, and to French cinema with Largo Winch 2, which placed second in the box office in France in 2011. If there's any place in the world which affords blondes the respect they are due, it's France. That's not to say all her independent films were hits. All of her films from the late aughts to the late teens were direct-to-video releases in North America with mixed critical success. But you might say she was once again ahead of the curve, since most features are released straight to video these days anyhow. Stone returned to television in 2018, winning the Satellite Award for Best Supporting Actress in a Series for her work in Steven Soderbergh's Mosaic. Nowadays, Sharon Stone is more likely to appear in films as herself, or at least a version thereof. In 2019, she reunited with Martin Scorsese on Rolling Thunder Review, a Bob Dylan story, where she received widespread acclaim for being none other than herself. She is and has been a strong activist and philanthropist, having worked to advance the cause of HIV/AIDS research since 1995, and frequently engages in global disaster relief. All of this goes to show, never bet against Sharon Stone. She always comes out on top in the end. Just ask Michael Douglas. This has been another Profile in Cinemania. This episode was written by Andrea Palladino and Ethan Ireland, and was performed by Andrea Palladino. Music by Meteor at meteormusic.bandcamp.com. Profiles in Cinemania is a product of the Cinemania Society, LLC.